Hello everybody and welcome to another Total Gaming Network and CS Nation presentation. Today, we're going to take a look at Sniper Elite V2, developed and published by Rebellion and available on Steam for $49.99. Of course, we'll provide a link in the description below for you to check out the game for yourself through Steam. There is a demo as well for those who may not yet be aware. Sniper Elite V2 places you smack dab in the battle-hardened shoes of US sniper Carl Fairburn. What starts off as a simple matter of obtaining secret documents that details their V2 rocket plans quickly turns into a deeper story involving the rescue of a scientist you were originally tasked with killing. Combining in-game cutscenes with overheard dialogue, the story teaches you to never take things at face value and that nothing really ever goes as easily as you would have hoped they would. Fairburn utilizes every weapon, trap, and world geometry at his disposal. The levels, while fairly linear, do provide enough open environment aspects that firefights never really play out the same way twice. Take down a group of soldiers from one perch one time, and the next, perhaps you'll either opt to get up close and personal with stealthy neck snaps, or even go in hot with SMG weapons and grenades. As the title suggests, most of your time will be spent sniping. Hey, go figure. Armed with a variety of authentic weapons, the key is to find locations that give you a clear vantage point over your prey as you line up your shot. Keen, eagle eyes are a must in most of the levels, as opposing snipers tend to be very well hidden, and at times the only way you'll discover they're there is when they take your head off with a well-placed shot of their own. Fortunately, Fairburn is equipped to handle the situation. Packed with his bag of tools is a pair of binoculars that allow you to scope out the area before you ever look down the scope of your weapon. The binoculars tend to have a higher zoom ability than early weapon scopes do, and if you ever see an enemy within your view, you can tag them. Tagging them brings up a floating marker above their heads that lets you more easily track them and keep up with their movements. You can also see some vital statistics on the soldiers, including their emotional level, which is really just how alert or spooked they are. Keep in mind that this tagging feature is not present in the hardest difficulty setting. But anyway, let's say you went through the steps of tagging all the enemies in an area. What next? Well, it's simple. Depending on your style of play, you either try to sneak up, snap a few necks, and pick off the rest with your silenced pistol. But come on, where's the fun in that? No, sir. Instead, you find a nice building that you can easily secure. You take out the tripwire mine from your inventory, click once to set the first point, string it across the front entrance, and click again. Instant booby trap number 1 is placed. But zips! What if they make it past that? Oh, you worry too much. Take out a mine and place it around the corner, or at another choke point. Poof. No more evil enemy to contend with there. This is all assuming, of course, that your first plan of action failed. What plan of action might that be? Well, the plan of action has you sniping each and every person that you can possibly see. And therein lies the entire nature of the game. Because let's face it, you aren't going to buy a game with sniper in the title and not snipe people, right? That's just crazy talk. Sniping comes in a variety of flavors depending on the difficulty you opt to go with. On the easiest difficulty, there is no bullet drop and no impact from the wind. Simply aim where you want to aim and bam, your bullet goes in a magical straight line directly to the center of your crosshairs. It's simple, it's easy, it's also pretty boring. Kick things up a notch to the middle of the road difficulty and suddenly physics start to play a role. Bullet drop as a result of distance and gravity begin to come into play. This means that enemies that are further away need to be aimed at with your center crosshairs a bit above where you actually want to hit them. By default, the game helps you out by placing a box showing you about where you should aim in order to compensate for the drop. This and a number of other options can be customized to your liking if you go the route of a custom difficulty setting. We'll hit that up later though. Finally, the hardest difficulty setting includes both punishing AI, bullet drop as a result of gravity, and the fact that you now have to compensate for a crosswind that could push your shot to the left or right to varying degrees. And while the AI isn't going to win any Mensa awards anytime soon, they do a good enough job at killing you if the situation presents itself. The hardest difficulty is the recommended difficulty setting for those who have ever played games such as Red Orchestra or Arma. Now, if you've only ever played Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, or other more arcade-like games, then chances are you won't want to start off on the hardest difficulty. That's understandable, and nobody's going to make fun of you for it, at least not to your face. As a battle plays out, your first couple of shots will typically tend to startle other enemies nearby. If you're good, your first 2 shots will also have eliminated 2 enemies. Various gameplay mechanics come into play during the course of the game. For example, on one level, where stealth is vitally important, Fairburn must time his shots to coincide with other loud noises, such as a loudspeaker announcement, so as to conceal his shot and his location. Failure to do this will obviously let the immediate area know that there's a sniper around. It's gameplay mechanics such as this that I wish were present throughout the entire game. Sure, it's neat once in a while, but you would think that it would also come into play while you're fighting your way through war-ravaged streets and there is both gunfire and bomb sounds going off in the background. Why then can't you time your shots to these bombs going off? It doesn't make much sense to me as to why this didn't happen. Ah well, we can't always get what we want though. What is present in this game are a plethora of X-ray shots. Critical hits on enemies will often result in slowed down, dramatic displays of the bullet traveling along its path and taking the life of your target. These shots are best achieved by utilizing the breathing mechanism in the game in conjunction with your heart rate. Slow your heart rate down to achieve the most steady shot possible. Every once in a while you will even be treated to a special X-ray view of the bullet as it travels through your enemies. Yes, skull fragments, brain matter, eyes, fingers, bones, organs, and even a pair of balls are all fair game. Strangely enough, in all the time I've played so far, these X-ray shots never really grew too tiresome to watch. Perhaps that says more about me than the game? Let's not go there. For the sticklers for prone, prone is in the game and does help in calming your player down to take a more precise shot. Can't go prone? Take cover against an object and pop out at a more opportune time. The levels also include various resupply areas in case you ever run low on ammunition. In more extreme situations, you can always search corpses for ammo or supplies, in addition to picking them up and moving them to a more secluded location. Visually, the violence and gore are, well, quite graphic, as they should be for a game centered around precision kills. What is unfortunate though is the fact that some of the world geometry and textures are a bit lacking. I understand this game is also coming out for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, so maybe that has something to do with it. It gets a pass though, as the custom engine still has a lot going for it, including physics calculations, decent looking explosions, and of course, X-ray deaths that are right up there with the X-ray combos from Mortal Kombat. As far as the audio goes, Fairburn's voice actor opted for a gruff and war-hardened approach. It works well, but it sometimes feels a little too forced during the between mission briefings. Germans will call out in shock, surprise, or pain in their native tongue. I don't really know how to speak German or Russian, so I can only assume that what they're saying is faithful to their languages. Beyond the single-player campaign, Sniper Elite V2 features competitive and cooperative multiplayer modes. Either work together to go through the main story or hop into a variety of game modes that find you going for the most points possible. It does round out an already nice package that also includes a single-player version of what is essentially Horde mode. This mode pits wave after wave of enemies after you. As is typical, the waves increase in difficulty and begin to include armored vehicles gunning for you in addition to the infantry. Simply see how long you can last using your trigger finger and your wits. Now, full disclosure here, the review build we had did not allow for us to try out the game's multiplayer, so I can't really comment on how well that works or how enjoyable it is. Generally though, is Sniper Elite V2 fun? Hell yes. Is it worth $50? Yeah, I think so, seeing as how you'll probably end up playing through the game, or at least a few of the more interesting levels again and again, just for the heck of it. Just don't forget to give the hardest difficulty a try for the real bread and butter of the game. It's not a spot-on simulation, but it does a far better job than most others at putting you in the shoes of an action hero sniper-type character. We'd like to thank Rebellion for the review opportunity, and if you are interested in picking up the game for yourself, be sure to check out the Steam link in the description below. It is also out now for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. As always, this has been Zips with Total Gaming Network and CS Nation. We will catch you next time.